savor the flavor responsibly.
Jalen and Jacoby is presented by Samuel Adams.
He is Jalen Rose. I am David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we do?
We give the people what they want.
Jalen Rose. Later on, during this very program, we will be joined by none other than the Podfather, the man who greenlit this show, Bill Simmons. But we start with the World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers. It was in the 6th inning when Blake Snell had only thrown 73 pitches and he was pulled by Kevin Cash. In the moment, I thought it was the wrong decision and it played out to be exactly that. Jalen, when you saw him get pulled from the game, what were your feelings?
It's funny, their manager's last name actually is what it is because last night he managed on credit, not on cash. Okay, it's right in front of you. Snell is pitching a gem, Jacoby, and I know he hasn't done over 6 innings this season, and I know that he has been a Cy Young winner, but this is a great moment, and all of a sudden, when you're the Rays, you got to get something special to happen if you're going to upset the Dodgers, who have more talent, who are the favorite, and he's on the mound pitching a gem, and all of a sudden, he gives up one hit to the 9-hole hitter, and you come take him out of the game? That you're supposed to go to the mound and make sure he's good. The top of the lineup is coming back up, Jacoby, with the 3 top hitters who he struck out 6 times already. 6 times. He's striking those guys out. He has 9 total strikeouts. You do not take him out of the game. As soon as he does, you put in Anderson, boom. Mookie takes advantage immediately.
And it's not just taking him out. It's, as you mentioned, putting in Anderson, who has given up a run in 6 straight appearances. And that was the case last night as well. Mookie Betts also added an insurance home run in the late innings to give the Dodgers the victory. They made a big investment in Mookie Betts, and that bet paid off last night. Jalen, how do you feel about your guy, Mookie Betts?
Why didn't he win MVP? Right? I don't understand why he didn't win MVP. And I don't want to be this guy having that conversation right now, but he's the 5-2 guy I saw snagging home runs, stealing timely bases, hitting doubles, hitting home runs, inspiring his team. Like, he was the MVP of this series. Not to take anything away from Seager. I know that Kershaw gave him 11 innings, but that's their MVP right there, Mookie Betts.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Kershaw because Kershaw has been, this monkey has been on his back. He has the reputation of being a great regular season pitcher, but can't put it together in the postseason. His 2 starts led to 2 wins for the Dodgers in this World Series. Do you think that monkey is finally off his back with this World Series win?
It is, because what ends up happening is people start to look back at his journey, and before they could say he's a 3-time Cy Young winner, the only one that doesn't have a ring. Now he goes into the category of one of the all-time greats, which is when people start talking about the greatest pitchers of all time, he's now elevated himself with that ring in a lot of people's mind in that conversation. But I want to press pause just a little bit. Yes, it does eliminate that monkey off of his back. However, they didn't need him to be that quote-unquote throwback dominant type of ace to go out there and pitch 8 innings, to pitch 9 innings, to strike out 10, to perform in a Game 7 or to perform even in the closeout game for the Dodgers. So I am happy to see him get a championship, but as we start talking about all-time great pitchers, there will be people like myself that have to acknowledge those points.
Well, this World Series championship was very 2020. It came after a shortened 60-game regular season. It was played in a bubble, and Justin Turner, the third baseman of the Dodgers, was pulled from the game mid-game because results from a COVID test came back positive. And then after the game, he came back onto the field with a positive test to celebrate with teammates, even removing his mask for pictures. Jalen, what happened?
So this was irresponsible by Turner. I know he's been on the Dodgers longer than anybody else. And I know he's hometown, and I know he's going to be a free agent, Jacoby, and I know winning the World Series for your hometown team is something extra special. But COVID-19 is not anything for us to be joking or playing with, considering almost 300,000 Americans have lost their lives based on the fact that they've contracted coronavirus. So now, once you understand that he fails the test and is removed in the game from the 8th inning, it makes me ask the question, so did he get tested every inning? Did they find this out in the 2nd inning? Did they find this out before the game? Oh, so when he does leave the game, is MLB's power structure has to be present because the World Series is being decided, which means they have to separate church from state and say, hey, we're going to keep everybody safe, and now immediately quarantine him like the Wisconsin football team is doing with their quarterback. But no, they win the World Series, he celebrates with the team, and that becomes something that makes me so mad as somebody that's walking around with a mask on that's putting bumps on my face. That now becomes a super spreader event. That's what that becomes, Jacoby, and it disappoints me seeing so many people still walking around disregarding the current and the lingering effects of the coronavirus. This is real. As long as you woke up today wearing a mask, things are not normal.
I'm going to move our attention to college football. I'm glad you brought up college football because we have what could become a big story, and these are the words that came out of number 1 pick Trevor Lawrence's mouth. Let's listen to the Clemson quarterback.
We'll just have to see how things unfold. I think there's a lot of factors in that, but honestly, just really, I leave or stay, whatever. Obviously, I have the option to do either one. Kind of my mindset's been that I'm going to move on, but who knows? There's a lot of things that could happen.
Interesting. Now, I've said that he is the best quarterback prospect that I've ever seen in my entire life. The best athletic prospect I've ever seen since LeBron James. And he's saying, maybe I won't go to the draft. Jalen, do you think this is a real threat to stay in Clemson?
I now have a real threat, Jacoby. I was trying to figure what style I might do next without forcing one. And if I could have hair like anybody, it would be like Trevor Lawrence. Put his picture back up there, Tommy. Or whoever's producing the show today. Jill, whoever's producing the show today. Put him back up there. Oh, Tony is my guy. Look at his hair, Jacoby. You see that? Can you imagine me with that down to my shoulders with the straightening iron? That might be next, fam.
I think your hair is great as it is, but talking about Trevor Lawrence, a lot of people are just putting this to the Jets. Oh, he doesn't want to play for the Jets. The Jets are one of many teams that are terrible at football in the NFL. It's not a lock that the Jets are going to go 0-16. They were threatening against the Bills in the first half. There are tons of teams that can get the number 1 pick, so I don't want to make this story about the Jets, but it is interesting that he's saying he could stay in college because I think it does matter who the number 1 pick is going to be that will influence that decision. However, I do not think Trevor Lawrence will stay in college. There's just too much money waiting for him to play on Sunday.
I'm not going to be able to do it.
Jalen, we have some news about the Detroit Lions. The 3-3 Detroit Lions. They have traded for the Cowboys defensive end Everson Griffen. Now, the fact that they would trade Everson Griffen to the Lions for a conditional 6th-round pick tells you what about where the Cowboys' heads are right now?
So this is when an organization, Jacoby, walks into the locker room blindfolded after the owner gets upset at a media member for questioning the leadership in the locker room, puts a blindfold over his eyes, and just sprays through the locker room to try to make an example out of one person. And it's like, okay, so do y'all see what we did to Everson? We got him out of here. You could be next. You think you don't understand wearing that Dallas Cowboys star is a privilege? We'll get you up out of here. But you know what they ain't doing? Getting rid of the guys that they paid top dollar that should be performing as not. Like Lawrence, like Jalen Smith on defense, like Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott. You know what he did when he saw their lockers? He just walked right by. How y'all doing? What's up, fellas? Because those was his decisions. And so now he's trying to own it by pointing blame, but it ain't nobody to blame.